Well, hello everybody, welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make a rich shepherd's pie. So this is going to be a shepherd's pie made with minced lamb, and it's going to have lots of vegetables, carrots, celery, onion and some frozen peas in it, as well as some herbs, and it's going to be nice and rich. It's all going to be topped with some creamy mashed potato. Now, it's not a difficult recipe, but it does take a little bit of time because we have to fry off or brown all the minced beef, and then we have to fry off the vegetables and then cook the mixture on the stove top for 30 minutes or so, and then we have to get our mashed potato ready, and at that point we can assemble our shepherd's pie into a large dish. Now I'm actually going to use two dishes for mine because I'm going to make two separate shepherd's pies, one for me and one for my niece, but the whole thing, the whole recipe will serve a good 6, probably 8 people. A really hearty meal because I'm using lots of vegetables and lots of minced lamb. So I'll go on to the ingredients for the lamb's part of the dish first. And for this I have 1.5 kilograms or 3.3 pounds, so between 3 to 3.5 pounds will be fine, of minced lamb. I have 300 grams, which is about 3 cups of finely chopped onion. And don't worry about how fine you chop the onions and the vegetables. I've chopped mine quite small, but you can leave them a bit larger if you want. I have 400 grams, 2.5 cups of finely chopped carrot, 220 grams, 1 cup of finely chopped celery. I have 120 grams, 1 cup of frozen peas, 13 grams, 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic, 5 grams, 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme, which I've chopped up a little bit, and 8 grams, 1 tablespoon of fresh rosemary, which I have also chopped up a little bit. Now if you don't have the fresh thyme and the fresh rosemary, you can use dried thyme and rosemary, but they tend to be much stronger, so instead of a tablespoon you would use about a teaspoon of each. Then I have 30 millilitres, 2 tablespoons of olive oil for frying things off, 30 millilitres, 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, 30 grams, 3 tablespoons of flour, 750 millilitres, 3 cups of chicken stock, 240 millilitres, 1 cup of red wine, and some salt and pepper to taste. And I also have 15 millilitres, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And that's all the ingredients for the meat. And the first thing we need to do is to brown this lamb and set it aside. So I'll do that, and I'll use a little bit of my oil to start that off. So I've put a little bit of my oil into a deep pan, and I'm going to heat that up. And then I'm going to put some of my lamb in, and I'm going to break that up, and I'm going to fry that off until it browns, and it will release its fat. And with that first batch fried off, I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to fry off the remainder of the lamb. So I'll do that, and then I'll come back to go on to the next step. So I have cooked off all of my mince and I've set that to one side. So now, using some of the fat from the lamb, and I have strained off some of the fat because there was a lot in it, I'm going to put my onions in. And my carrots. And I'm going to cook those for probably about 8 minutes to get them softened and tenderised a little bit. And after a couple of minutes I'm going to put the celery in as well. So I've cooked those down for about 8 minutes, and I'm going to put my tomato paste or tomato puree in. I'm going to stir that through. I'm going to add in my garlic and my herbs as well and stir those through. And just cook those for about a minute. And that's good. So then I'm going to add in my flour. And I'm going to quickly stir that through. And I'm going to add in my red wine and my Worcester sauce, and again stir those through. And as that thickens and the red wine cooks off a little bit, I'm going to add in my stock. And then I'm going to put my lamb in. I'll stir that through. And as that starts to simmer, I'm going to turn the heat down and cover it. And I'm going to leave that to cook for about 25 minutes. And as that cooks, I'm going to boil 2 kilograms, which is just under 4.5 pounds of potatoes, until they're just tender. And once they've boiled, I will drain them off and I'll come back and I'll show you how we make the mashed potato. So I've simmered my lamb and vegetables for 25 minutes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stir in my peas. They don't need to cook because this is going to go into the oven later. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper in. I've tasted the sauce to make sure that the stock wasn't too salty, and it can do with just a little bit of salt. And then I'm simply going to cover that and turn the heat off and cover it. I'm going to leave that until I have my potatoes ready. And as I come back and mash the potatoes and cream them together, I'm going to have my oven preheating at 180 degrees Celsius, 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, ready to take the shepherd's pie once I've got it prepared for the oven. So I have now boiled my potatoes until they're tender, and I'm just leaving them in the pot, having drained them off so that the steam escapes from them, so they dry out just a little bit. But I'll talk about the other ingredients. So I have here 100 grams, about 7 tablespoons of butter. I may not use all of it. And I have 90 millilitres, 6 tablespoons of milk, and I may not use all of that. And here I just have, which is an optional extra, some grated pecorino cheese. I thought I had Parmesan, but I didn't, so I'm going to use pecorino. But you can use any cheese if you want to, just to sprinkle over the top. So my oven is preheating, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rice the potatoes. You can mash them any way you want, but I think ricing them tends to work quite well. And with my potato riced, I'm going to add in most of my butter, and I'm going to stir that around, get that melted and mixed into the potato. And that's mixed in. So then I'm going to add in, I'll put in about half of my milk, I think. That may be enough. I'm going to mix that around. And if I think it can take some more, then I'll add some more in. Just a little drop more. I think that will be enough. And that's good like that. So then I've got one of my pans here, and I'm going to put about half of my minced lamb and vegetables into that dish and then cover it with potato. And with that in the dish like that, I'm simply going to put potato over the top. I'm going to spread that evenly over the top, like that. I'm going to take a fork and I'm just going to drag some lines over it. You could actually pipe the potato if you wanted to. And then I'm going to sprinkle over some of the cheese. Like that. And do the same with another dish. And so there I have my two dishes. This round one is deeper than the other one, so the meat goes higher up the dish, but it's got half the meat in, and then potato on the top. But as I say, if you have something like a 12-inch by 10-inch pan, then all of this mixture will fit that quite easily. But this pan is 8 inches by about 10 inches, so that will serve for, and this will serve for as well. So I'm going to put those into the oven and I'm going to cook them for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, until they're piping hot and the cheese has melted and has begun to brown, the potatoes have begun to brown on the top. Then I'll take it out of the oven and leave it to cool down a little bit before I come back and show you what it looks like. So I cooked both my shepherd's pies for 40 minutes and they browned quite nicely. So what I'm going to do is, they're still very hot and I'm going to leave it to cool down a bit before I taste it. So I'll take this one round to my niece, and by the time I walk back, this one will have cooled down a bit and I can have a taste of it for you. So I've just put some on a small plate for the time being. I'll transfer that to a larger plate for my dinner with vegetables, but I've just thought I'd take out enough to show you, and it looks quite good, so I'll have a taste of it. And it's still very, very hot. That is very, very good. The sauce is nice and rich, the lamb has a lovely flavour, and then the vegetables as well, and then the creaminess of the potatoes on top. It's a perfect shepherd's pie from my perspective, with that little bit of cheese on the top as well, giving extra flavour. So I have done individual shepherd's pies in the past, but this is a different recipe, making the whole thing slightly richer. And as I said, you can easily halve the recipe and serve 4. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.